Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we'll be exploring real property. Our topic specifically will cover fee simple estate. The first question is, what is an estate in land? An estate in land is the degree, the nature, quality of a person's interest in land or other property. Now let's delve into the characteristics of a fee simple estate. A fee simple estate refers to ownership. When we talk about the levels of ownership pertaining to land, fee simple estate is the greatest estate in land or the largest, and they represent a present tense interest in a property. Conversely, there are future interests, which we'll be covering in later future videos. Future interests are designated as the grantor's rights to have property reverted to him upon occurrence of an event. Future interests are different from present interests, such as a fee simple, as future interest may be conditioned upon the occurrence of a certain condition, which we'll be exploring very shortly. In future interest, the grantor grants the present interest to a grantee. However, he retains a future interest, which could be in the form of reversion or remainder, which we'll be exploring a little bit later. Now, the grantor gets the present interest, and the grantee is left with nothing. The fee simple absolute is the greatest or largest estate in land. Its duration is indefinite as long as the owner of the interest lives, and it is indefeasible. That means it does not terminate or revert to someone else, and it does not give rise to a future interest. For example, the language used for fee simple estate is Tony hereby conveys mansion high to Jose. So that is an example that the estate is being conveyed to Jose from Tony. Now let's look at the feasible fee simple estate. So we've talked that the fee simple estate absolute is indefeasible. However, we can have the feasible fee simple estates, which are lesser estates that are carved out of the indefeasible fee simple estate into smaller chunks of interests or estates. Now, these are the ones that revert to grantor upon the occurrence of a specified event. The owner of a fee simple absolute conveys the feasible lesser estate to a grantee. Now, the fee simple, the feasible can be twofold. One is fee simple determinable, where the property reverts to grantor automatically upon occurrence of a specified event. The grantor gets fee simple absolute, and grantee is left with nothing. So that is when the reversion takes place. The grantor retains an interest in the estate called the possibility of reverter, and the grantee gets fee simple determinable. The language used can be for as long as. For example, Jose conveys mention above to J until J breaks the covenant rules of the mention above. So that means when that event takes place, the estate is reverted to grantor Jose. 2. Fee simple subject to condition subsequent. This is another form of a defeasible fee simple, and in such a state, the grantor retains the future interest, also called the right of entry or power of termination. The grantor grants estates subject to condition subsequent. That means that the estate does not automatically revert to grantor as in the fee simple determinable. However, there has to be an event occurring in order for the grantor to enter the property and reclaim the estate. And when that happens, the grantor exercises the right of entry and takes property back. The grantee is left with nothing. And the language used is on condition that. Very simple example is if J conveys mentioned above to J on condition that J does not break mentioned above covenant.